I'm going to do my first example of simplifying a square root using the product property of square roots. Here I have a square root of 75. If I typed that into a calculator, square root of 75, I would get something like 8.66025, and it just keeps going. It is not a perfect square, 75, so it doesn't have a whole number square root. So in order to simplify it, I'm going to make use of the square root property. The square root property says that if I have two factors under square root, I can break that up into the square root of the first times the square root of the second. So my goal is to see if there's a factor of 75 that is a perfect square, something that I could take the square root of. So I always like to start by listing my perfect squares, or just kind of coming up with the list so that I can compare to that as I'm going. So remember we said that was like 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16. This is my list of perfect squares. So it continues on, 25, 36, 49. So I can keep going as far as I need to, but I want to be able to come up with that list of perfect squares pretty quickly. So now back to this problem. I have the square root of 75, and I'm going to look at factors of 75 and see if I can find any factors that are perfect squares. I can do my factor pairs, sets of two numbers that multiply to make 75, such as 1 times 75. I can do 2, nope, it doesn't go in there, so 3 times 25. 4 doesn't go in, 5 times 15, and I can keep checking, but those are the only factor pairs that I'm going to find for 75. So now I go to these factor pairs, and I start with the largest number, so I'm working my way down this side, and then if I need to, I'd turn around and come back up, so working from largest to smallest, and checking them against my list of perfect squares to see if any match. 75 is not on my list of perfect squares, but 25 is. Here it is. So I know that 25 is a perfect square and is a factor of 75. So I'm going to go back to my square root of 75, and I'm going to break it up into the square root of 25 times 3. And I'm choosing to put that perfect square factor 25 first. My next step is to use my product property. That becomes the square root of 25 times the square root of 3. And now I can evaluate the square root of 25. The square root of 25 is 5. Root 3 I cannot simplify farther, so my final answer will just be 5 root 3. The nice thing is, if I type this into my calculator, 5 square root 3, it should give me that same decimal because it's worth the same amount. It's considered simplified because I have a smaller number now under the radical. That ends example 1.